praise are due to Allah, and His help and guidance we seek. And Allah's peace, blessings and mercy be upon our Prophet Muhammad, his family, his companions, and those who follow his guidance until the day of judgment. Respected guest speakers, Dr. Jamal Badawi, Dr. Abdul Hayy Yusuf, distinguished guests from Trinity, Dr. Noah Kaddu, CEO, and Sheikh Hussein Halawa, Imam of the Islamic Culture Center of Ireland. Respected guests, let me greet you all in the Islamic way. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The term Sharia, one of the currently most applied terms, occupies a major concern in the intellectual arena. It has been widely interpreted and misinterpreted, understood and misunderstood. The adroitly manipulated exposure to the imagery of a whip cracking on a naked back and a veil enshrouding a woman's face has led many to believe that the Sharia, the divine code of Muslim conduct, is in essence nothing but a collection of values and practices, barbaric, uncivilized, and primitive. What to a Muslim is the object of his longing and the goal of exerting sincere efforts has been very subtly projected as a relic from the dark ages which enslaves women and by means of chastisement inflicts severe and inhumane degrading punishments on criminals. There is no doubt that the Quran prescribes corporal punishments for given serious social crimes, and it lays the foundation for retribution. But in the meantime, the Quran, when it comes to forgiveness, forbearance, and tolerance, is very emphatic. It should be marked clearly that the Quran that assigns will define different roles to men and women stresses clearly that women have equal roles to the rights that they owe to their men. The Quran enacts many regulations and laws deemed by Muslims to be eternally valid, and hence Muslims should hold fast thereby. At this point, the following questions should be raised. Will these and other provisions of the Sharia plunge society into darkness? Are they inhumane and barbaric? Could they be seen as indicators of the Islamic incompatibility with the human progress and civilization? In order to determine the value of the Sharia and its provision in the ultimate order of human civilization, the above-mentioned questions should be considered seriously and also neutrally. This examination is inadequate in the view of the dogmatic positions adopted by a number of Western writers and media people regarding these questions. In the West, emerged a phalanx of writers and media people claiming that unless Islam is ready to relent on these and other legal provisions of the Sharia, then the chance of Muslim integration and accommodation is very limited. And alternatively, it will be a total rejection to Islam and a complete isolation to Muslims. This racial remark unveils deeply rooted hatred and the expression thereof under the guise of freedom of expression incites hatred raised by these media people and writers. This vehemence makes one really wonder, is it genuinely because of the misconception, or is it used as a whipping boy to settle scores, old and new, with Islam? Are these writers and media people ready to perceive that the corporal punishments prescribed by Islam, limited to certain crimes, are enacted due to their serious repercussion, and that the execution thereof, hedged by almost the unrevocable requirement of evidence, are thus stayed in Islam? Muslims should know that it is not the duty incumbent upon Muslims to convince everybody of the Islamic Sharia. Nevertheless, it is their duty to explain that the term Sharia does not only refer to punishments, but rather a wider scope than this, and that it can only be properly understood in the context of its total scheme, its conceptual basis, primary objectives and goals, and overall framework. Hence, Muslims should not endeavor to convince, but rather to generate sound understanding and also clear misconceptions. The Sharia literally means the way to water, which is the source of life, signifies the way to Allah. It is the way which encompasses in its scope the entireness of man's life, being in the Allah-given provisions. The Sharia is a manifestation of Allah's mercy and the embodiment of the true infinite justice, an ideal earnestly cherished and ardently desired and ceaselessly pursued by mankind from the early dawn of history. Hence, and due to the fact that it can only be true conceptualized and practiced truly with the recourse to divine help, man's quest for justice not based on divine foundation have been the most tragic issue of human history. The entire components of the universe, ranging from the mighty nebula to the tiniest tissue, have been created in perfect harmony and unique equilibrium, and have been well equipped to fulfill the purpose of their lives. Hence, man's justice lies in his submission and obedience by what Allah classified as right, and shunning what Allah described as a prohibition. This submission and hence the attainment of man's justice are generated by the firm belief that it is only Allah that can establish the intricate network of interrelationship and roles, mutual rights and responsibilities, and the consequent rewards and punishment based on the divine infinite justice. Justice, the supreme purpose and the ruling spirit of the Sharia, represents the paramount purpose for which all the prophets were sent, represent the purpose for which all the prophets exerted efforts throughout all their life to accomplish. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated in the Quran translation, "We have surely sent apostles with clear signs and sent down with them the book and the balance so that men may stand by justice." Justice is one of the ideals of the Muslim nation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "And thus we have made you an ummah, a nation justly balanced, so that you may be witness over other nations, and that the Prophet Muhammad may be a witness over you." Respected guests, due to the radical social changes, development of man's understanding and the revolution of technology, the issue of the Sharia compatibility and incompatibility is raised every now and then, and here and there, and Muslims are usually challenged to compromise certain provisions of the Islamic Sharia, which allegedly do not rhyme with the fashion and the lifestyle of the 21st century. This is indeed a manifest fallacy. The Sharia has not been initiated to tell us what car to drive, nor has it been initiated to tell us what computer to use. Essential human nature, its motives and drives, its emotions and desires have remained the same throughout all the ages. Man's lusts and fears, hopes and anxiety, yearnings and longing remain the same. Hence the Sharia is eternally valid and eternally applicable. To the conclusion, I have few points to share with you. The Arabic word Sharia, literally translated as the way to water, refers to the path to follow. The Sharia in the divinely revealed, and only the divinely revealed law and only the Creator is able to consider every aspect of the human life and hence enact laws applicable at all the time and in all places. Just the Sharia in the ideal way of life. The Sharia is eternal, and hence it is not a synonym of fiqh. Due to their limited knowledge and limited mental faculties, it is not conceivable for human beings to completely comprehend the Sharia. Just like in laws and theories, the Sharia is liable to misconception and misinterpretation. The term Sharia is often used to refer to Islamic law. Nevertheless, included in its scope is much more than any ordinary legal system. The Sharia covers all aspects of human's life. When it comes to Sharia, let there be no compromise. Muslims should exhaust every possible means to abide by the Sharia, but they have to admit that as ordinary human beings, sometimes they fall short from their ideas. Thank you very much.